Hello and welcome back to another Football Commentaries live stream. The Champions League is back and so are Rangers. Back in the group stage of this competition for the first time in under 12 years, and the Gers qualified with an away win in the Netherlands against PSV a couple of weeks ago, and they return to the Netherlands with a trip to the 2018-2019 Champions League semi-finalists in Ajax, who have gone through big changes this summer. They have lost their manager to Manchester United alongside two very key players in Anthony and Lisandro Martinez. With a 100% league record so far, with 5 wins out of 5, it looks like they are coping well with their losses, but how will they fare in Europe with the visit of Giovanni van Bronckhorst's men, who at the weekend were defeated 4-0 in the Old Firm derby away at Celtic? The two clubs have met 4 times previously competitively, and every single time Ajax have ran out victors. But for the first meeting in 25 years, will Ajax continue their fantastic group stage record after 6 wins in 6 last season, or will Rangers win the game 4,292 days after their last Champions League match? It's been a long wait since their last Champions League game. Like I said, 4,292 days. That's how long ago it was. It was an away draw 1-1 to Baraspor, and it was on the 7th of December 2010. It's been a long, long wait for these Rangers fans to get a taste of Champions League group stage football again. But it's here. They've got through the qualifying. Obviously, they beat PSV in the last playoff round a couple of weeks ago. It was a 2-2 draw at Ibrox, and then they went away and won 1-0. Antonio Cholak with the goal in that one, and he also scored in the home game as well against PSV. He has a great record in the Champions League qualifying games. Antonio Cholak, he's got 8 in 13 Champions League qualifying games. He's not yet to score in the Champions League for Malmo last season. He got 6 appearances all in the group stage, and he failed to score. See how he fares tonight. I think it'll be an interesting game. I definitely think Rangers have got a chance, but if you've heard at the weekend, it was a harrowing defeat to Celtic, 4-0. A lot of speculation about Giovanni van Bronckhorst, and is he the right man to take the club forward? Well, he's got them to a Europa League final. He's got them back in the Champions League. He won the he won the Scottish Cup last season, so it's a little bit early. You don't want to be doing things too prematurely. A little bit like Chelsea this morning. Absolutely unbelievable. I couldn't believe it when I read that he'd been sacked. It was the first thing I read when I woke up, and I thought it was just one of those troll accounts, because get easy likes or whatever. But then when I actually read it on the Chelsea Twitter that it was true, I was just in absolute shock. I couldn't believe it at all. We'll talk more about it maybe during half time. I'm going to go through the lineup soon because kickoff is just under 7 minutes away. I'm just getting the clock ready for the start of the game. So that's ready for the start of the game shortly. I'm going to go through the lineups. They are on screen, but I'll go through them in a little bit more detail as it is Rangers' first lineup back in the Champions League group stage. In the last Champions League group stage games that they played against Baraspor away, Alan McGregor, the goalkeeper, and Stephen Davis, the midfielder, all both started and played the full 90 minutes in that game. They're both on the bench, almost 12 years later. Alan McGregor still getting the number 1 jersey, but he's been kept out at the minute by John McLaughlin. Talks of him he should have been dropped after making multiple errors at the weekend, but he's kept his spot. And Stephen Davis also started the last game. He's their only change from the lineup. Their only change for Celtic is Stephen Davis dropping out and Scott Wright coming in. But we'll go through the lineups now in a little bit more detail. And we'll start with the home team as well. Goalkeeper Remco Pasveer starts in goal. 38 years old, but he had a fantastic record last year in the league for Ajax. He played 20 league games and kept 17 clean sheets, which is superb for a keeper of such an age of 38. And right back, we've got Divine Wrench, who's been at the club since the age of 13. He's now at the age of 19 years old. Jurien Timber, who was linked strongly to Manchester United, stayed at Ajax, and he plays alongside Rangers former Rangers man Calvin Bassey. I think he's going to play centre-back for Ajax, but he could also play left-back. Calvin Bassey and Daley Blind at centre-back. Them two could easily swap, but it is Calvin Bassey who did join for £22.7 million. That's with add-ons and everything included. And then Daley Blind, I think, will be playing left-back. His second spell at the club, his first one was from 1998 to 2014. And a man who was also bidded by Chelsea, Edson Alvarez, plays in a holding midfield role. The Mexican, they had a £43 million bid from Chelsea and they rejected that as they wanted to keep the Mexican. Obviously, they don't want to lose too many big players. Ajax, and then they've gone for Mohamed Kudus in central midfield. The Ghanaian, he was very strongly linked to a move to Everton, but that fell through. And the number 8 and the Dutch international Kenneth Taylor plays in a midfield 3. And I think there's going to be a false 9 system of Dusan Tadic playing that false 9 role, joined for around £10 million 4 years ago. On the right is Steven Berghaus, joined from bitter rivals and used to be captain of Feyenoord. That sent shockwaves around the footballing world when he swapped Feyenoord for Ajax, a very bitter rivalry, and he swapped red jerseys for Ajax. And also a very familiar name in the English game, and that's Steven Bergwijn. He plays on the left Tottenham in the summer to join Ajax. He's had a great start to the season. He's got 6 goals in 5 league appearances. He also scored in the Super Cup final defeat to PSV, and he looks to try and get his Champions League goal-scoring career underway. He's played 13 previous times in the Champions League, and he's yet to score. Will he change that duck now, as both sets of players are entering the Johan Cruyff Arena? It is a great stadium, holds so much footballing heritage as both teams enter the field. And then the bench for Ajax is Martin Stekelenburg, Jay Glotta, Jorge Sanchez, Ahmedcan Kaplan, Lisandro Magallan, Yuri Bas, Florian Grilic, who signed on a free, left Hoffenheim at the end of last season, and he's joined just on a deadline day. David Klaassen, formerly of Everton, is on the bench of Lucas Ocampos, who's also signed on a loan deal from Sevilla till the end of the season. Francisco Conceição, Brian Broby and Lorenzo Luca make the bench for Ajax. That's the Dutch-sized lineup for Rangers. They've gone and stuck with John McLaughlin in goal. 10 appearances so far in all competitions this season, keeping 5 clean sheets with a 50% record. James Tavernier, the captain, joined from Wigan in 2015. He plays in the defence with Connor Goldson, James Sands, the American, and Borna Barisic at left back. Midfield 2 of John Lundstrom and Glenn Kamara, who looks set for a move to Nice just before the end of the transfer window, but he's stayed put in Scotland, and he'll play just behind the centre attacking midfielder of, we think, is going to be Malik Tillman, playing in the more central role. That means Scott Wright plays on the right, Ryan Kent will play on the left, and the main man, Antonio Cholak, the striker, will play up front. He has a great start to his career in Scotland. He's got 7 goals in all competitions in 10 appearances, 4 of them in the league and 3 of them in the Champions League qualifying rounds. He'll be looking to try and put Rangers back on the Champions League map and get them scoring once again in the group stage. Bench is Alan McGregor, Robbie McCrory, Adam Devine, Ben Davies, Leon King, Ridvan Yilmaz, Stephen Davis, Scott Arfield, Ryan Jack, Rabbi Matondo, Fashion Sakala, and back in the fray is Alfredo Morelos. He's got a red card this season in the league, which looks like he meant he isolated himself from the team, as Giovanni Van Bronckhorst was not very happy with Alfredo Morelos picking up which was his 8th red card, by the way, that red card this season. 8th red card, absolutely ridiculous for Alfredo Morelos. But he's back on the bench. It's going to be hard for him to get back in the team with Antonio Cholak in such good form, the Croatian. But at least they've got such a strong option on the bench if they need a goal. He's a great player to bring on as the two captains meet with the referee, who is Tobias Stieler. It's a full German layout for the officials. He's also got linesmen of Christian Gitzelman and Eduard Beitinger as well, all German, including the VAR as well, who is Christian Dingert, and his assistant on VAR is Marco Fritz. So full German lineup for the officials. We've got plenty of Dutch in the Ajax team. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 Dutch players in the starting 11 for Ajax, with plenty more on the bench. And we're very close to getting underway here at the Johan Cruyff Arena. built from 1993 till 1996. And it is owned by the government of Amsterdam, as the two managers also meet in Alfred Schroeder, who is formerly a defensive midfielder in his playing days, the Ajax manager, and Giovanni van Bronckhorst used to play left back. He played for Rangers for 3 years, for Arsenal as well for 3 years, and Barcelona for 4, so did play at the highest level. And the two managers are ready to see their teams play at their highest level possible to try and get their Champions League group stage campaign off in the right track. Obviously, Rangers come into this game not expecting 3 points, but they'll definitely take an away point in their first game back in the Champions League. As the referee blows the whistle, it's Rangers to kick off, kicking left to right. Ajax right to left. It's a diagonal ball from James Sands over toward the right. It's gone out of play in the left-back area for an Ajax throw-in. And we are underway between Dutch side Ajax, Scottish side Rangers. And let's hope for an end-to-end goal-scoring game between these two sides who have had success in Europe in recent years. As Connor Goldson picks the ball up for Rangers and plays it back to John McLaughlin, who made a couple of errors against Celtic in the weekend for that 4-0 loss. He takes the ball and looks for Ryan Kent, goes over his head, and it can be picked up by Divine Wrench, the right back. And here is Jurien Timber, the centre back for Ajax. He won Dutch Talent of the Year last season in the Eredivisie. The 21-year-old centre back. And Calvin Bassey will be playing left centre back, the former Rangers man who swapped Scotland for the Netherlands. Like I say, for £22.7 million. Made good profit on Calvin Bassey Ajax because they picked him up from Leicester on a free. Here he is again, the Nigerian. Plays it forward into Kenneth Taylor. To left back, Daley Blind. Down the line to Steven Bergwijn, right on the halfway line. Gets away from Kamara. Good ball here. Steven Berghuis finds Kenneth Taylor on the left-hand side in behind. Chased down by Glenn Kamara on the edge of the box. He still has it here, Taylor. Looks for Daley Blind towards the byline. Bit of a heavy pass. Rolls out for a goal kick. And it's a positive start for Ajax. Kenneth Taylor getting forward down that left-hand side. The central midfielder. And there he is, Alfred Schroeder, the Ajax manager. Previously worked at Club Bruges for 6 months, from January to June of 2022. Was an assistant to Ronald Koeman at Barcelona as well. Also an assistant at Ajax from 2018 to 2019. So he has got experience with the club. As a ball is put forward towards Antonio Cholak. And he just gets a bit of a knock to the head by Jurien Timber, the centre-half. It'll be okay to continue the Croatian as the ball was dinked towards him. Yeah, just got an arm into the back of the head. He'll be definitely fine to continue, and they'll definitely need Antonio Cholak's goals, Rangers, if they want anything from this challenging first opening game of the Champions League group stage. Connor Goldson sends a ball, looking towards Ryan Kent on the edge of the box. It's nodded down to Tillman by Wrench, the right back for Ajax. He keeps it alive here, Tillman. Back to goal. Plays it to Borna Barisic. Great play there from Malik Tillman, loanee from Bayern Munich. And it's going to be Rangers who are just going to settle on the ball for now with Connor Goldson just inside the Ajax half. He's going to go to his right-hand side to captain Tavernier. Moves the ball away from Daley Blind, pokes up towards Cholak, comes off Kenneth Taylor, and it'll run for an Ajax throw-in as it came off Cholak last. Gone for a Rangers 2-0 win. It's a risky scoreline, obviously after getting beat 4-0 at the weekend away to Celtic. 2 Abada goals and Jota and Turnbull adding to the 4. It's the first time under Van Bronckhorst where Rangers conceded 4 or more goals, and they're not used to getting a battering like that. You might remember near the end of last season they get beat away at Rangers, and that was 3-0. But I hadn't been hit for 4 yet until the derby the weekend. As we're back with Rangers goalkeeper John McLaughlin, just over 3.5 minutes in. It's Rangers settling on the ball. And it's John McLaughlin to clip it forward, looking for Cholak again. He does win the header, but it's full on his head. And he sends it towards John Lundstrom, who loses out to Tadic. It's now Alvarez to Kudus, the central midfielder. The Ghanaian, like I say, heavily linked with Everton. Near the end of the transfer window, looks set for him to sign for the Evertonians, but obviously fell through. And he's been put in the starting 11 for today's game, Mohamed Kudus. Did score in Ajax's last league game to Canberra at home. It was 4-0 as well. Bergwijn bagged a brace that day as Divine Wrench The right back, who also scored in their last league game, is currently on the ball in the final third. Goes across to Edson Alvarez. It's now Timber. Looks very confident on the ball, the centre half, and he sprays it back out to the right back, Wrench. Left-footed ball in towards the box. It's dealt with by Tavernier momentarily. Kamara can't deal with it well. Bergwijn comes off the hand in the box. That's going to be a free kick for Rangers. Wasn't intentional by Bergwijn, but definitely gained the advantage by the ball striking his hand there as it just bounced off his foot and up onto his hand. Ajax had a 100% record so far. 5 wins in 5 in the league, scoring 16 and conceding 3. And they've got 3 clean sheets in a row as well in the league. Got off to a disappointing start as well in the season, losing the Super Cup final to Ruud van Nistelrooy's PSV, who were beaten in 2 legs by Rangers, for Rangers to get to this point in the competition. And their last group stage journey for Rangers was back in the 2010-2011 season, which seems so long ago now, as Connor Galton gets a strong hit in the face by Mohamed Kudus. He's definitely felt that one, Connor Galton. But the last group stage they were in, Manchester United were in the group. Rangers, Bursaspor was in there, and Valencia as well. Got 6 points in the group, and it meant they were relegated to the Europa League. The furthest they've ever got in the Champions League in most recent times. Rangers was in the 2005-2006 season. They reached the round of 16 where they were beaten by Villarreal 3-3, knocked out on away goals in the end. They're looking for something similar, maybe a round of 16 tie would be a major success for Rangers in their return back to the big stage of the Champions League. They have proved they can do it in Europe. I mean, the Europa League is not an easy competition. I can assure you that. To get to the final was a big achievement, and they're going to look to go one further this time in the Champions League and try and get into the Champions League knockouts. Scott Wright flicks on to Cholak, who is battling there with Calvin Bassey, and he loses out to the Nigerian, showing his upper body strength there. Calvin Bassey, he's also so composed on the ball. It's a young centre-back pairing, that, with Jurien Timber at the age of 21 and Calvin Bassey 22. Calvin Bassey has signed a contract for 5 years at Ajax, making his stay up towards 2027. Like I say, he spent 5 years of his career, early parts of his career, at Leicester from 2015 to 2020 before being snapped up by Steven Gerrard and Rangers at the time. As after Rangers had a little bit of possession for a couple minutes, it's now back over to Ajax, who are the home teams. They'll be wanting more of the possession. There's Calvin Bassey on halfway, lays it off into Daley Blind, number 17, formerly of Manchester United. Made 141 appearances for the Reds and scored 6 goals. It's now worked to Tadic, down the line to the right-hand side to Divine Wrench. The right back, now back to Tadic, the captain. Brought in from Southampton in 2018. They're not afraid or scared to start again. Ajax, as it's a great ball by Alvarez looking for Berghuis. His flick is misplaced and it's back in Rangers possession with Goldson on the edge of the 18-yard box. Turns around and goes to McLaughlin in the Rangers goal. Clips it towards Barisic on the left. It's a perfectly placed ball for the Croatian. He plays it forward to Tillman. Knocks it over to Kent on the left. He lets it run as it came off a Ajax man last. Well won there. Well played out. The risky ball from John McLaughlin out towards Barisic, but he did it very well. A man who signed a new 2-year contract in late January of this year until 2024. Like I say, it's been major change for Ajax in the transfer window. They brought in 10 new players, 7 which included a fee, 2 on loans and 1 on a free. And then they had 15 players leaving as well, the likes of Anthony, Martinez, Sebastian Haller, Gravenberch, Schurz, Tagliafico, Mazarawi, Anana. Big names, great players for Ajax. And the fact they've had to kind of have a full rebuild in the summer says a lot, because their team does look very... I like the look of the Ajax team. I like the man they've brought in on the left-hand side who's currently on the ball, Steven Bergwijn, the number 7. Didn't quite work out at Tottenham, but you can definitely see the potential he's got. You might remember the brace he got against Leicester in the 3-2 win Tottenham picked up earlier on this year in one of the craziest comebacks in Premier League history. Here he is on the ball still, 1-on-1 with Scott Wright, plays down the left, and he finds Kenneth Taylor, the midfielder, who tries to get it across goal. It's blocked by Glenn Kamara, and that'll be a corner kick for Ajax. And it'll be the first one of the game for either side. Goes short, and then Tadic swings it in, and it's a free header 6 yards out. And he should be doing better with that. It's Jurrien Timber, the centre-half. Unmarked, 6 yards out. Really, really poor header. He should have done lots better. That's when Zonal can go wrong. 3 players around him. Cholak, Tillman, and Lundstrom, and no one was on him. They just watched him head it over the bar. After the first corner, we've had the first shot of the game from the head of Jurrien Timber 10 minutes in. And thankfully for Rangers, it went over the crossbar. Ajax currently dominating the possession in the early stage of the game as Daley Blind wins the header from the John McLaughlin goal kick. And it'll be a throw-in for Rangers in their own half. Tavernier throws into Lundstrom in the Rangers half. Tavernier loses out to Steven Berghuis. Aggressive tackling from the Dutchman. Formerly with Watford, Steven Berghuis for 2 years, and he only made the 9 Premier League appearances. Long throwing down the line by Tavernier, straight out of play, throwing for Ajax. That's really poor from the Rangers captain, James Tavernier, who scored 7 Europa League goals last season. They all came in the knockout stage as well. 3 against Borussia Dortmund, 2 against Braga, 1 against Red Star, and 1 against RB Leipzig, adding to his 18 in all competitions last season. It's now back in Ajax possession with Timber coming out with the ball, playing it forward. Left by Tadic for Divine Wrench, the right back. Can he work across? He's put it onto his left foot, goes inside to Tadic, tries the 1-2, completes the 1-2. Across it goes into the 6-yard box, cleared by Galton. Goes only as far as Jurrien Timber, and is Calvin Bassey bringing it forward and working out to the left of Daley Blind in the final third. It's Steven Berghuis, gets onto his Bergwijn, gets onto his right foot, drags the shot towards the near post. Wide it goes, goal kick for Rangers. Positive play though for Ajax, getting their second shot of the game. Long clearance up the field towards Ryan Kent. Header won by Timber. Goes as far as Cholak, who is dispossessed. But he wins the throw-in as Kenneth Taylor couldn't quite keep it out from going. Out for a Rangers throw-in, just outside the Rangers technical area where Giovanni van Bronckhorst stands. His last Champions League group stage run for the Rangers manager was with Feyenoord back in the 2017-2018 season. Rangers yet to have a shot at the man in the goal who's currently on the ball as well for Ajax. Remco Pasveer gets up towards Tadic, loses out to Barisic, and it will drop to Scott Wright. And he loses out in the end though to Divine Wrench, the right back. And here's Daley Blind, the left back for Ajax. Here's Calvin Bassey to Timber. No real press on the 2 Ajax centre-halves as they're aiming towards the halfway line. He does play forward now, Timber, to Mohamed Kudus. Just lays it back off into Timber, though, to the centre-back. Back forward to Kudus again. Left-footed ball, swings it towards the right. Great find towards the right back. It's a fortunate pass to Berghuis, but it works for Ajax, and it's now with Dusan Tadic on the Ajax right. Gets a cross in, it deflects, and it's a corner. Second corner in quick succession for Ajax, well won by Dusan Tadic, the Serbian international, now at the age of 33. Made his 200th Ajax appearance in their last league game at the weekend. They both played on the 3rd of September, which was the Saturday. Both played in the 4-0. Ajax won theirs. No cross in. Tried to be played out towards the edge of the box. It's misplaced. And it's a counter-attack on for Rangers. It's going to be led by Ryan Kent. Just has to slow down a little bit for support, but then loses out as his pass is intercepted. And it goes out and it's a throw-in, and it's taken quickly by Ajax. Here on the right-hand side, looking like they're aiming and directing their attacks on that Rangers left. Can they work a shot here? It's to the edge of the box. Alvarez has a strike. Blocked and cleared by Barisic up to Cholak, the striker, who gets it away from Bassi. And he can set away Malik Tillman. Counter-attacks on. It's a 2v5 at the minute. And he gets past Alvarez. Great run from Tillman. He can carry on here, the young American. And he lays it off into Antonio Cholak, who strikes. It is blocked. Over towards Glenn Kamara, who keeps it alive. It's laid off to Barisic. It's the left back. Into Kamara. Oh, a bit too heavy on him. And it's back in Ajax possession. Shot there from Cholak. It looks like he was going on target, but it was blocked in the early stages of the shot. Won by Barisic as the ball was played forward by Ajax. But Scott Wright loses out to Kenneth Taylor, the central midfielder. He plays inside to Edson Alvarez. Then goes across to Calvin Bassi, back into the possession of Ajax. Steven Bergwijn picks it up deep on the left-hand side. Just about enters the Rangers half and then lays off into Calvin Bassi, who got the 1 goal for Rangers in the cup. There's Daley Blind. Looking to take on Malik Tillman. He loses out to Tillman, but then Kenneth Taylor takes over. He's tackled by Tavernier as he's cleared forward. Looks like Steven Bergwijn, who gets it away from Cholak, takes on Tillman. And away from Lundstrom, laced off into Alvarez, who's just beyond the halfway line for Ajax as they're still trying to build from the back. It's now Wrench, the right back. Tadic inside to Timber. It's now Alvarez getting closer to the Rangers' goal. I'd say about 40 yards away from John McLaughlin's net. It's Kudus. Great ball out to Tadic. Plays it in behind for Berghaus. Looks for the pull back, and it'll be another corner. They're working it well down that right-hand side of theirs, Ajax. Bassi's up for the corner. How he would love to score against his former side. Tadic swings it in. It's a left-footed corner, and it's a header from the Mexican. Edson Alvarez scores for Ajax. He was wanted by Chelsea on deadline day. Ajax says no, and he's got their Champions League group stage campaign off to a flying start. Just under 17 minutes in, it's a wicked left-footed corner by Dusan Tadic straight onto the head of Edson Alvarez, who looks completely unmarked. It's ludicrous defending again from Rangers, and they concede early on. Again, straight in between 2 Rangers defenders, clearly not knowing how to deal with the zonal marking. Connor Goldson, James Tavernier, they didn't even jump for it. And it means from 6 yards out, it's an easy header for Edson Alvarez. The Mexican scores. It's his first goal of the season. It's his 10th in Ajax shirt in his 109th appearance. And here in Amsterdam, Ajax 1, Rangers 0. From the third corner they scored from it. Giovanni Van Bronckhorst will be fuming with that goal. The last corner, well, the first corner that they got, Ajax, they nearly scored from it with Timber at the near post getting a free header. That time with Alvarez, he just would not miss. 6 yards out, like I say, Connor Goldson, James Tavernier, they didn't even jump. Then the Mexican had a free header, but you've got to give credit and plaudits to Dusan Tadic for the fantastic corner. In-swinger, left foot, and an easy header for Edson Alvarez, who joined for only 13.5 million back in 2019. And like I said, they did reject a bid from Chelsea on deadline day for £43 million. And he's got Ajax underway in the Champions League group stage for the 2022-2023 season. But it does look like Rangers struggle defending corners for sure. 17 minutes in. It's Alvarez with the goal for Ajax. They're dominating possession. They're making many chances, and Rangers are struggling. They've had one shot so far that looked like it was creeping on target, but it was blocked away before it got anywhere near the Ajax goal. It's with James Sands now, the Rangers centre-half, goes back to McLaughlin, who has to clear first time, doesn't get much height on it, and it falls right back to Alvarez, who just hooks it back towards his goalkeeper, so Ajax can keep possession. Not many touches so far. Remco Pasveer, the Ajax goalkeeper, as he plays it to Calvin Bassey, and his Kenneth Taylor, the Dutchman, been at the club since the age of 8, and he wears the number 8 shirt. It's now work to Dusan Tadic. He's already got 1 assist from the corner. Plays it to Steven Berghuis, number 23 for Ajax. And when he joined last season from Feyenoord, he only joined for under £5 million, an absolute steal. As he's going to try and keep it in here on the right-hand side. He does do so, and he gets away from the challenge of Barisic. Inside it goes towards Dusan Tadic, trying to hold off the pressure of Kamara, and he does so nicely. Then he loses out as Barisic recovers the ball, pokes it away to Kent, who's taken out very, very strongly there by Edson Alvarez, the Mexican, the goal scorer. He knew the counter-attack was on there, and he had to take down the Englishman. I think he's very lucky there to get away with no booking there, the Mexican, because Ryan Kent was taken out heavily. I don't think the German referee Tobias Stieler produced a yellow card. Rangers are in possession again. It's a long ball by McLaughlin in the 6-yard area. Up towards Cholak. Loses out to Jurien Timber. Now Blind inside to Mohamed Kudus. Tadic. Alvarez. Berghuis zips it into Kudus. Good ball. Ghanaian. What a roulette turn on Lundstrom. He runs forward, edge of the box, into the box, lays it off into Tadic on the Ajax right, plays it through, and McLaughlin has to save from Divine Wrench. That's getting forward the right back, and he got the ball from a great Tadic ball. They're cutting Rangers open here, and Divine Wrench, who scored in the last game for Ajax in their 4-0 league win, was looking for another one. He's got a couple already this season. He scored in the opening day in the league campaign and in their last league game as well. As the cross goes in this time, not as successful. And it can be cleared by Rangers in the end. Five shots so far for Ajax, 2 on target alongside their 4 corners. And for Rangers, they've only had the 1 shot so far. 21.5 minutes in. Rangers 1. Ajax 1, Rangers 0. Lundstrom picks it up though, a poor ball from Ajax from the back. It's now with the former Everton Academy man. It's now into Kent, who's taken from behind by Divine Wrench. It's only going to be a throw-in for Rangers. 76% possession so far for Ajax. They're dominating this game. If everyone could like and subscribe, that'd be absolutely fantastic. Ball forward up towards Scott Wright, but he's offside though. That's poor from the winger. Ajax are now back in possession once again. Ajax last season in the Champions League group stage, they won 6 of their 6 group games. They are in Group C that year with Sporting Dortmund, as well as Ajax are nearly in behind here. They also had Besiktas in their group. Scored 20 goals, the most they've ever scored in a Champions League group stage. They've got their first one of this season. Could say they're in a bit of a tougher group though, with the likes of Liverpool and Napoli joining them with Rangers. Here's Scott Wright, heavy touch, gives it to Calvin Bassey easily, and then fouls the Nigerian. Not really been in the game at all, Scott Wright. Scottish winger joined in February of 2021. He's been at the club for a while now. Tavernier wins it back though, takes it off the feet of Steven Bergwijn, clips it over to Ryan Kent on the left. He's 1-on-1 with Divine Wrench, the Ajax right back, plays it into the overlap of Barisic. The Ajax right back slips. Barisic gets a cross in. It goes all the way to Kamara in the box, lays it off to the edge of the box to Tavernier, clips it back in, and no one's there. It will spin, and Barisic will concede the free kick as he's offside. Should be doing better there. Rangers. It was well worked on the left by Kent, finding the overlap of Barisic as Divine Wrench slipped. He clipped it in towards Kamara, who laid it off to Tavernier, who couldn't get the shot away. And then clipped it back in towards Barisic, who was coming back from an offside position. And they've seen in the crowd there, actually, Edson Alvarez, partner and child in the crowd, celebrating his goal. The number 4 for Ajax could have been on his way to Chelsea. But Ajax said no, and I bet they're glad they've kept him. Ajax playing out from the back. So 4 previous meetings between the two sides. Twice in the European Super Cup. The 1972 Super Cup, but both legs were played in 1973 in January, where Rangers lost the first leg 3-1 and also lost the second leg away 3-2. There's Mohamed Kudus here, he's getting away down the left, plays it inside Steven Bergwijn, 20 yards away from goal, plays it back to the left to Kudus, gets the ball in, lifts it to the far post, Tadic lays it back into the box, it can be cleared by Lundstrom, and it can be picked up here by Ryan Kent, who lays off towards Barisic. It's a lazy ball, it's picked back up by Tadic, and Ajax are back in possession in the Rangers half here, 25 minutes in, 1-0 through a corner. Here is their 4th of the game. Daley Blind, the number 17, now plays with a defibrillator after a collapse on the pitch back in a friendly in August of 2020. 2 years on now, and he's still at such a high level, Daley Blind. Tadic has it, plays the reverse ball to Wrench, the right back. He's in the box, tries to pull back. It's cleared by Rangers, only finds Tadic. Gets into Berghaus, in the box, twisting, turning, trying to cross. He's got Lundstrom one-on-one now. Clips it towards the far post. It's a header won by Tavernier towards Cholak, the striker. Looks for Tillman with his nod on, and he does find the American, but he loses out way too easily to Calvin Bassey. And can Tadic get it in the box here? It's actually Berghaus. To Bassey, who's in a right wing position here in the final third. Lays it back into Timber as Ajax is going to restart at the back with Edson Alvarez. Here he is, the Mexican, the goal scorer. Steven Bergwijn. Daley Blind, back to the halfway line we go with Jurien Timber, the number 2. Been at the club now since the age of 13. Joined from Feyenoord's youth system. Bergwijn again. Back to Daley Blind. Forward to Mohamed Kudus. Loads of room for Ajax on their right, and Bergwijn will easily clip it over to Dusan Tadic. Poking it inside to Kenneth Taylor. Gets it back towards Wrench, the right back, tried to pull it across to Kudus, and wide it went. Hit it way too hard, and the Ghanaian midfielder had no chance getting on the end of that pull back, but it's great play from Ajax. They're cutting Rangers apart here. It was actually Berghaus on the ball who get it into Kenneth Taylor, played it through to Divine Wrench, the right back, who was onside. I thought he was off. He was onside, and if he was able to pull that back to Mohamed Kudus with a little less power, they could have doubled their lead. Fortunately for Rangers, they failed to do that, and it still stays at 1-0, 27.5 minutes in. John McLaughlin with the goal kick, volleyed back towards him by Edson Alvarez. James Sands will chase it and will head it back to his goalkeeper. Towards Tillman, loses out to Edson Alvarez, throwing for Rangers in their own half. John Lundstrom, deep inside his own half. Getting it out wide right to James Tavernier. Looking for his options. Goes inside to Glenn Kamara. Gets the return. And goes towards Lundstrom, who lets the ball run across his body. He was waiting for the ball. And Ajax can pounce. Tadic, good ball. I mean, it's not a good ball. It's a great interception by James Sands there. Tadic had a ball through and he couldn't find it. And Tillman looks in behind for Kent, who'd made the run. Then stopped his run, but Tillman had already made the pass. And he'll run all the way through to the Ajax goalkeeper, Remco Pasveer, the 38-year-old. Joined on a free last summer from Vitesse. Very lucky there that James Sands was able to cut out that Tadic pass into the box, because it looks like it was going to be an easy goal as Lundstrom just took too long on the ball. He waited the ball to come to him, and before he knew it, Mohamed Kudus took the ball away from him and played it to Tadic, who then couldn't quite get it through. Now a ball clipped out to the right-hand side now for Ajax. It's now with Dusan Tadic, the number 10. He had an unbelievable season back in the 2018-2019 season in the Eredivisie. He scored 28 goals and got 13 assists in 34 league games, Dusan Tadic. And he does get those numbers pretty regularly, season on season. Maybe not quite 28 in the league, but, he definitely reaches the 20 mark in the majority of his seasons. Berghaus looks for Daley Blind in behind in the box. It's cut out by Scott Wright, who clears up to Tillman. Turns one, gets barged over by another. Now Ken Klimara, who loses out, and Bergwijn gets beyond him. He lays it off into Daley Blind. Ball inside and across. Edge of the box. Tadic onto his right foot. It is shot, and he has a shot, and it's blocked by Barisic. And it will roll for a throw in for Ajax on the opposite side. Tadic's shot there looked like it was going on target, but it was blocked in the end by Barisic. But it's Ajax still on the ball with Calvin Bassey. Played 65 times for Rangers. Back with their goalkeeper here. Just over half an hour in. Now is Jurriën Timber. Very, very composed on the ball. And here they are now on the right-hand side. Dusan Tadic cuts in, edge of the box, left foot, swings it towards the far post. Unfortunately, can't quite reach Mohamed Kudus. And it will roll for a goal kick for Rangers. It was a great challenge for Mohamed Kudus to take the ball from Lundstrom, and then as Tadic tried to roll it through to Steven Berghaus, it was intercepted by James Sands. Great defending from the American. As Ajax have got the ball here again, Berghaus has a shot and it's deflected and in. McLaughlin had already committed to his right-hand side to try and save the ball. It looked like it was going to be an easy save in the end, but it deflects off the American James Sands, and it looks like it's going to be a long night for Rangers. They've waited over 4,000 days for their first Champions League group stage game, and it's started in catastrophe so far. Edson Alvarez with the first, Steven Berghaus with the second. He picked up the ball after some nice skill from Mohamed Kudus. And no one really got out to him quick enough as then he played it, shot towards the bottom left corner. It looks like it's going to be an easy save from McLaughlin. But as James Sands tried to block it himself, he put it beyond his own goalkeeper. And Rangers are off to a shocker. It's Ajax 2, Rangers 0. A diabolical start for Giovanni van Bronckhorst's men. Ajax 2, Rangers 0. We're very interested to see whose goal that is, because from a replay, it did look like it could have been an own goal. I don't know if it was going on target or not. I think it was, and I think it will be credited to Steven Berghaus. Eight shots, 4 on target. And Ajax have a 2-goal lead. Just losing the ball sloppily in the midfield, Ajax and Rangers, and they paid for it because Ajax are so good. And here they come again. Mohamed Kudus in the box on the left, shrugs off Tavernier, gets a shot across goal, and that is a bullet off the post. And Mohamed Kudus, he was strongly linked to Everton. He stayed put in Ajax. And he has delivered that ball off the post into the net, using his strength to get away from James Tavernier. And no goalkeeper stopping that. It's a bullet from the Ghanaian international. It's been an unbelievable first half an hour for Ajax. And for their efforts, they have a 3-goal lead. He got the ball from Calvin Bassey. He got away from Tavernier, using his pace and strength. And a tight angle, you could say. It's not the easiest place to shoot. He went across goal. He definitely generated enough power. And my word, it stings off the post into the back of the net. It's a beautiful goal by Mohamed Kudus, who gets his 3rd of the season. All 3 coming in different competitions. And Rangers is now getting from bad to worse. It's Ajax 3, Rangers 0. And it looks like it's only going to get worse here for the Gers. 3-0, 2 goals in quick succession. 2 goals in 2 minutes. And Rangers Knights is surely done. Their rival Celtic got off to a losing start themselves, but it was a home game to reigning champions Real Madrid. Not quite the same away at Ajax, and they're 3-0 down in 35 minutes. Rangers struggling to get out of their own half. They're really struggling. Here's John Lundstrom. To the left back, Borna Barisic. Goes all the way back to John McLaughlin. He's got nowhere else to go. He's got to go back to the goalkeeper. He's asking his players, where are you? What's going on? Barisic ball inside. It's a bad one for John Lundstrom to deal with. He loses out. Steven Bergwijn plays it through towards Berghaus. But Tavernier wins it back well. Good tackle from the right back, and the captain, he clips it down the right-hand side, where Bassi will get there first. Calmly takes a heavy touch back into his own half, where he can fetch the ball and restart for Ajax at the back. It's just been superb from the Dutch side so far. They've won this competition 4 previous times, only once since it was rebranded back in the 1994-1995 season. But Rangers just do not know what to do. They've had one shot. You can debate if it was on target or not, because the shot barely even reached the Ajax goal. And from Ajax's point of view, it's been an onslaught this first half. Started in the 17th minute with Alvarez from the corner. And then in the 32nd minute, a deflected strike from Steven Berghaus came off James Sands, and it beat John McLaughlin in the Rangers goal. And then literally just over a minute later, Mohamed Kudus, the Ghanaian midfielder, shrugged off the pressure from Tavernier and blasted it beyond John McLaughlin. And that's why we're at Ajax 3, Rangers 0. And it doesn't look like it's going to get any better for the team from Glasgow. They'd worked so hard to get back into this stage of this competition instead of getting knocked out in the qualifying rounds. And like I say, their first Champions League group stage game in 4,292 days, and it's started as a disaster, and it could end in disaster as well. As James Sands sends a ball over the top down the Rangers left, where Kent will allow Divine Wrench to head it only as far as Ryan Kent, who's met by a really strong challenge by the Mexican and goal scorer Edson Alvarez, and it'll be a throw-in for Rangers, which will be taken by Borna Barisic. Not much movement here from Rangers to give Borna Barisic the option. Just throw it back in the end to number 4, John Lundstrom, who started every single game so far this season for Rangers. It's Connor Galton on halfway. Bringing it forward, looking for an option. He's going to carry on running forward. And he looks in behind for Scott Wright. He's got Calvin Bassey to try and beat. And despite the pressure he put on the Nigerian, he could see it out for a goal kick. Unbelievable defending from Calvin Bassey. They had to sell in the end, Rangers, because when someone's knocking at your door with 22 million for Calvin Bassey, someone you got for free, it's hard to say no, but he's such a good defender. Calvin Bassey was heavily linked as well to Brighton, but he chose Ajax. He wanted the Champions League football, something that he wasn't guaranteed with Rangers, you've got to remember. Despite getting to the Europa League final, he didn't get them into the Champions League. They had to go through the qualifying rounds, which again weren't a guarantee they were going to get through. They did, and now he faces them in the Champions League in Group A. And it's just a big struggle for Rangers. It's going to be a long game. They were beaten 4-0 at the weekend to Celtic away. They're now getting beat 3-0 to Ajax away. And we've only played under 39 minutes of the match as well. Remco Pasveer, the goalkeeper, on the ball for Ajax, number 22. Great ball through the gap and the lines to find Jurien Timber, who will speed away for Ajax. I can definitely see why United were after him. He looks like a fantastic centre-half. I'm sure he'll be in the Premier League at some point in his career. I'm surprised if no one ends up getting the hands on him. Tadic gets it into the centre-back. He's found himself in the 18-yard box. He skills it away from Barisic. He gets it into the box where he looks for Steven Bergwijn. It's a header won by Glenn Kamara, and it's picked up by Kenneth Taylor, the Ajax central midfielder. And down the left-hand side, still in towards the final third with Bergwijn. One-on-one with Scott Wright, cuts in towards his right foot, lays it off into Daley Blind, the left back. And again, they're just knocking it about, waiting for the gaps to appear, waiting for the penetrative pass to come along. And he could maybe bring it here. Dusan Tadic on the right. Is he going to go on his right foot or his left? He just lays it off with his left foot. Back to Edson Alvarez. Tadic. Back to Alvarez towards the halfway line. They're toying with Rangers here. They're embarrassing them on the big European stage. Tadic swings it down the line. Great ball. Divine Wrench, the right back. Goes inside to Kenneth Taylor on the edge of the box. He fancies a strike himself. Good save by John McLaughlin. Who'll fall to Tadic, who gets it across the box. And Tavernier can volley away. Good save there by John McLaughlin on Kenneth Taylor. Steven Bergwijn now from the throw-in for Ajax. Good strike towards the right corner of the goal. But it was well saved by the 34-year-old Scottish goalkeeper. Daley Blind down the line to Mohamed Kudus, who bagged the Ajax third. Touches it out of play, runs out of room. There we go, here's Kenneth Taylor's shot. I thought it deflected off Connor Golton, but it didn't in the end. It went right the way through. And it was a good save by John McLaughlin. He's now conceded 7 goals in 130 minutes of football. Not saying Alan McGregor would have particularly stopped the 3 goals, but you know, we'll never know now as Edson Alvarez gives it away short to Ryan Kent, Kamara, Cholak, Scott Wright looking in behind for Ryan Kent. He stopped his run because he'd gone offside. And it's straight back to Ajax with their goalkeeper, Remco Pasveer, who's picked up 270 Dutch league appearances, the goalkeeper, for 5 different clubs. Quite the well-known veteran in the Dutch game. And they're yet to test him at all. He's not had a shot to save. Here he is on the board again. Clears it long down the Ajax right. Nearly gets in behind James Sands, who nods it only as far as Mohamed Kudus, who's being challenged by James Sands, but he gets it away from the American centre-half, and he gets it across to Calvin Bassey, who charges forward into the Rangers half. It's now in the left-back area with Steven Berghuis. Inside it goes to Kenneth Taylor. Edson Alvarez making up as a makeshift centre-back as Jurrien Timber and Calvin Bassey were getting forward from centre-half. Across it goes to Alvarez. Good sharp ball in towards Tadic, maybe a bit too sharp. His touch wasn't on point. And James Sands can clear only as far as the Ajax goalkeeper, who also has 3 Dutch titles to his name as well. He's won 2 with PSV and obviously 1 with Ajax last season, the Dutch champions. Finished with 83 points. The top goal scorer is Sebastian Haller with 21 in the league. Looking like they're okay without his goals so far this season. There's Calvin Bassey, Daley Blind, all the plays in the Rangers half. Kenneth Taylor inside in the box. Steven Bergwijn. Pass is deflected to Dusan Tadic. It's a good save again by John McLaughlin. Low down to his right. And it's parried out for an Ajax throw-in on their left-hand side. Another good save by the Scotsman. Actually, Steven Bergwijn tried the pass through to Tadic. To Berghuis, sorry. And it was deflected to Tadic, who had a swing, and it was saved in the end by McLaughlin. It's now Daley Blind with the throw in. 90 seconds left of the half. And then any added on time if we're to get it. Edson Alvarez forward to Mohamed Kudus. Alvarez again. Again, just all inside the Rangers half. Berghuis, great ball out wide right to Dusan Tadic. Toward the byline to Divine Wrench. He keeps it in and lays it back off into the Serbian Dusan Tadic. Now finds Jurrien Timber towards the halfway line. Tadic out to the right hand side again. Steven Berghuis Timber. Forward to Bergwijn. Back off into Timber. Forward towards Alvarez, who picks up a good pocket of space in midfield. Now Taylor. Forward once again. Steven Berghuis looks at Tadic towards the byline. It's deflected off Glenn Kamara. And we'll run for a corner to Ajax again. 5th corner of the game. They've already scored from 1. Through Edson Alvarez. If they could score another one, it would be embarrassing for Rangers. In it goes, and it's caught well by John McLaughlin. Well played by the Rangers goalkeeper. He had to come and collect, and he did. Got the 1 minute of additional time. He rolls it out to Connor Goldson. Lays it off into Tavernier. Now he finds Jean Lundstrom. Barisic into Kamara. All in the Rangers half. Struggling to get out of their own half here. The boys in blue, wearing their home strip for tonight's game. Looks like Group A could be a struggle for Rangers. They've got Liverpool to face and Napoli. Home and away as well. It's just could be maybe a step too far. You know, they had, with the money they got from qualifying for the Champions League group stages, they didn't spend it towards the end of the transfer window as Connor Golton's pass is deflected to Calvin Bassey. And we've nearly played the 1 minute of added on time. Played 1 minute. And the referee blows the whistle for half time. Referee has blown in Tobias Steeler. And it's been nothing short of dominant from Ajax so far. 3-0 at the break against Rangers. It started in the 17th minute with Edson Alvarez scoring from a corner unmarked in the box, 6 yards out, couldn't miss, and he definitely did not miss Edson Alvarez. And then a double sucker punch came at the same time for Rangers as Ajax scored 2 in 2 minutes. It started with Steven Berghuis in the box, had a shot towards the left-hand side of the goal. It deflected off James Sands, directed the ball past John McLaughlin, who was already beaten. And that made it 2-0. Then literally a minute later, losing possession again, Mohamed Kudus was able to shrug past James Tavernier, stride towards goal on the left-hand side in the box. He struck it across goal with so much venom and power. And in the end, it went into the back of the net. And after 45 minutes, it is Ajax 0. Ajax 3, Rangers 0. Shocking half for Rangers, it really is. Definitely not what they wanted. But it's what they've got due to their poor performance. And like I say, it could be a long Champions League group stage for Rangers. Obviously, they'll have the benefit of playing home matches, which they're very strong at. You know, the Ibrox atmosphere can really pull their team through games. But when they're away from home and they don't have that home support, you know, they could struggle like they are tonight against this Ajax side who have moved the ball so well. They've been so impressive, obviously, under new manager of Alfred Schreuder, 49 years of age, the Dutchman. The other game as well in the Champions League early kickoffs is Eintracht Frankfurt, who have qualified due to beating Rangers in the Europa League final. They're currently drawing 0-0 at home to Sporting Lisbon, who also have Marseille and Tottenham Hotspur in their group. But yeah, 0 at half time. Rangers are trailing by 3-0. They were losing 4-0 at the weekend. Now 3-0. It's not very good for Giovanni Van Bronckhorst's men. I'd like to get some Rangers' opinion on this game for sure, because they are struggling and they're struggling badly. You know, Ajax had 11 shots in the end. They had 6 on target. Rangers had 1 shot, and again, you can debate if it was going on target or not because it was blocked so far away from the Ajax goal. and yet to win a corner as well. It's just pure dominance from Ajax. They've had 76% possession as well. Like I say, just absolute pure dominance. Thanks everyone who's here. If you could like and subscribe, that would help me out massively. If you're wondering why I sound a little bit off, it's because I've got a bit of a stuffed nose at the minute, unfortunately. But you know, still able to do the commentary tonight. I was hoping for a bit of a better performance from Rangers, but unfortunately Ajax has just been too good. They've been absolutely ridiculous. You know, the way they can get their centre-backs forward so freely, knowing they'll have cover at the likes of Edson Alvarez, the holding midfielder, who will come and cover. It's really dangerous, especially down their right-hand side with Divine Wrench, the right back, with Dusan Tadic as well. They're linking up really well, and you know they're unlucky to not have more than 3 goals really. Ajax have been superb, and like I say, they've won their last 6 Champions League group stage games because they won all 6 of their group games last season. It looks like they're going to carry on where they left off. Fantastic performance so far. Looks like Rangers fans aren't too happy. Yeah, some strong words from the away supporters. Not very happy with the lineup. Obviously, the Rangers fans do bring frustrations from their last game, the Old Firm. You don't want to lose that 1-0, never mind 4. So obviously frustrations have been brought in from that game as well, and now getting beat so badly again, even though it is to a good Ajax side, it's just going to lead to more negativity in the Rangers camp. But let's see. You never know. We've seen comebacks at this stadium done before from Tottenham, you may remember. Not saying this game has the same importance, but who knows? I don't think Ajax will let that happen. I do think that in the second half they'll probably score more. I think this could end 5 or 6-0 maybe. I don't see Rangers coming back into it at all. Just don't have the players for it. Don't have the European calibre of the Champions League. Haven't brought in good enough players to really challenge, I don't think, and it's showing quite badly at the minute with this half-time scoreline. But it'd just be interesting to see how Rangers end up faring when they go to the likes of Napoli away and Liverpool away. It's difficult atmospheres to deal with alongside their good players. You know, it's difficult. It's going to be hard. You know, it's only the first one, so we shouldn't really presume it's the end of everything. You know, but it's just not looking very good, is it, at all, for Rangers. Yeah, that other great game currently going on between Frankfurt and Sporting has ended 0-0 at half time. Sorry, I just had to deal with that. But yeah, Celtic was able to hold Madrid to a pretty decent performance. I mean, they went in at 0-0 at half time, but then obviously class shone through at the end in that game. But for Rangers, they've not even showed any kind of fight to stay level in this game. It's just been poor all round. Say Berghouse's goal picks up from Kudus, and then boom, deflected and in. Just seems too easy. Do you know what I mean? It seems a bit lackluster from Rangers. They're not really. I don't know. Just seems a bit off. It's obviously very unfortunate the way that second goal's gone in. Obviously deflected, but it was deserved. They just weren't doing it. It was just not good enough. That's the main line you draw. But then this third goal is very impressive. The way that Kudus turns Tavernier, shrugs him off, and bursts away, and that finish. If you've not seen it, check the highlights out after the game. The way he turns Tavernier, bursts away, and the left-footed shot across goal fires off the post. It's such a good finish. It really, really is. And that is a deserving goal to put your team 3-0 up. That is for sure. But the players will be coming out for the second half in around this early kickoff times, just under 3.5 minutes. Obviously, don't think I've commentated at 5:45 before. Obviously, Champions League putting in earlier games. They have for a good few seasons now, and I think it's a great idea. More football to watch, because usually when you've got all of them at 8 o'clock, you have no idea which game to watch. The other games that are on tonight as well, I'll just go through them quickly. We have picked the right game. Obviously, I was never going to commentate on Frankfurt Sporting, but got Inter, Bayern Munich. That's a big game. Barcelona versus Victoria Pilsen. Napoli welcoming Liverpool. Atletico Madrid, Porto. That's also a decent little game. Tottenham, Marseille as well. Can Conte get Tottenham back in the winning ways in the Champions League? And then Club Brugge take on Bayer Leverkusen. Yeah, if I do sound a little bit off, I do apologise. Has come over a bit of illness, but I'll be alright. That's why if the energy hasn't been 100% with the goals, it's just hard to really, shout and scream when you're not 100%, do you know what I mean? So, it's one of them, unfortunately. But it happens. We move. Sorry, I'm just trying to sort something out. Do apologise. I'm getting a little bit distracted. I'm sorry. But the second half will be kicking off in a couple minutes now. Will Rangers be able to hold off the Ajax storm, or will Ajax just add to their goals, add to their amazing start to the Champions League campaign? Three goals, three different scorers as well. Oh my word. What are Rangers doing with this substitution? I'd like to know the thoughts of the fans for this one. If I've just seen that person run out, I'm surprised. There's no way that they're putting the player I think they're putting on. Surely not. They're making two changes. Wow, okay. Something must have happened here. Surely. I don't think he was injured. We're going to get a double change for Rangers. Tavernier has been replaced by Leon King, number 38, 18 years of age, born in January of 2004. It's only his 13th ever Rangers appearance. Born in Glasgow. 3 changes. That's one of them. Tavernier off for Leon King. Something must have happened at half time because Tavernier didn't look injured, I don't think. We'll have to get something on that. And then we've had 2 other changes as well. Rabbi Matondo has come on and Ryan Jack. I'm not sure who they've replaced. They've gone to a back 5. Lundstrom's gone into centre-back alongside Galton and Sands. Leon King will play right wing-back. Trying to remember who else has come off. So I think Malik Tillman has come off. So I think Malik Tillman, Scott Wright and Tavernier have come off for Leon King, Ryan Jack and Rabbi Matondo. That's an I'd love to know. I'd love to have been a fly on the wall on that half-time discussion. Oh, it might have been an argument because I don't think Tavernier was injured. So it must have got heated or something in the changing rooms. And to bring on Leon King as well. Because they have got Ben Davies on the bench, who's signed from Liverpool in the summer. I don't even know, but that's an interesting call to make. The captains come off at half-time. It is Ajax who's going to be kicking left to right, Rangers right to left. Got to start the timer, unfortunately, which is a little bit annoying. So I'll just keep you up to date with what time we're up to. I always need to remember to do that, and I forgot. So I'll keep you updated on what time we're on, as Kent has it here on the right-hand side for Rangers. They've gone to a 5-4-1, basically damage limitations here. Let's just not get completely battered. But he has lost here, Ryan Kent to Kenneth Taylor in the Ajax half. And they're restarting here with Remco Pasveer. Just love to know what happened in that changing room at half-time, because there's no way you bring off Tavernier unless he's injured, but I don't know. Like I say, Malik Tillman, Scott Wright, Tavernier off, Leon King on with Ryan Jack and Rabbi Matondo. Well, yeah, Rabbi Matondo is a right winger. He will be playing on the right-hand side, signed from Schalke for £3 million. Schalke signed him from Manchester City for £11, so they made a little bit of a loss on him. It's Edson Alvarez dinks it wide left to Steven Bergwijn in behind. Leon King's got his first bit of defending to do here against the former Tottenham man. Shows him away from the goal and he has to play it back to Daley Blind, whose heavy touch means he loses out. And it's now with Rangers with Rabbi Matondo, who gets it from John Lundstrom at the back. Leon King tries to go inside, but it deflects to Lundstrom, who clears. It finds Ryan Jack and then a ball through to Rabbi Matondo. Here he is, his first run at Calvin Bassey, and he can't get beyond Bassey, but that's because he was brought down from behind by Daley Blind, who was making his way back after conceding possession. 3 minutes into the second half, it's Ajax 3, Rangers 0. Okay, Tavernier does have a lot of ice wrapped around his right knee. But I'm thinking maybe they're just doing that to try and make out like it's not an injury. I don't know. I mean, that's probably me looking into it too much. So it does look like Tavernier's picked up an injury. Don't remember a challenge where he could have picked that up. I don't know if they can show us a replay at any point, but I'll keep you updated on that. But it does look like they've brought him off with an injury. He's got ice wrapped around his right knee. He was one of 3 changes. Malik Tillman also coming off with Scott Wright. Here we go, crossed in by Borna Barisic into the box was James Sands, who does win the header, the American, but it's way wide of the target, and it'll be a goal kick for Ajax. Good ball from Barisic, well won by James Sands on Calvin Bassey, but it was never going to be anything too dangerous for Ajax to not be able to deal with. As from the free kick, Kenneth Taylor's gone down and he's hobbling away. It looks like he's really injured himself there on his left foot. I don't think it's his left ankle, maybe. As Barisic put it in, Kenneth Taylor maybe just got trodden on by accident by Lundstrom or Goldson. Whatever it was accidental if it was contact, and if he may have just rolled it anyway. Had a great first half, Kenneth Taylor. And he's going to try and run it off. As the Nigerian Calvin Bassey tries an audacious switch to the right to Tadic. What a ball that is by Calvin Bassey. He finds Dusan Tadic, who's got runners ahead of him, and he finds Divine Wrench, who's just been over strength. He's been knocked off the ball by Kent. And Borna Barisic loses out. How's that come off? Barisic last. I'm not sure how, but it's an Ajax throw-in right in towards the corner flag on the right-hand side. Barisic pleading his innocence of that didn't come off me last. But he won't be able to change the linesman's decision as Steven Berghaus has a shot and it's blocked. And it's a throw-in for Ajax on the halfway line. Still moving gingerly. Kenneth Taylor signed a new 5-year contract in the July of 2022. He's made 9 appearances for the Dutch under-21s team. He's now at the age of 20 years old. It's only his 29th first-team appearance for Kenneth Taylor. As Rangers win it back on the edge of the 18-yard box, it's Barisic back to John McLaughlin. Out to John Lundstrom, who's playing in the back 3 now for the second half to try and stop Ajax scoring more goals. He loses out here, Lundstrom. It's now Mohamed Kudus. Tackled by Goldson, it falls to Edson Alvarez, whose pass is just about been kept in on the far left by Steven Bergwijn. Great work there by the Dutchman. Signed for around £25 million to Ajax, something around that, £28 million. Has been at Ajax before from the age of 8 to 14, so he has been at the club before. Steven Bergwijn as Ajax win a free kick on their right-hand side here. Steven Berghaus brought down on the right-hand side by James Sands. Yeah, went right through Steven Berghaus there. James Sands, the man who did deflect his goal into the back of the net, has gone down as a Steven Berghaus goal, as we've got the other Steven in Bergwijn on the ball now on the left-hand side. 1-on-1 with Leon King. Great experience for the youngster, but maybe it was a bit too big of an occasion, but he's doing okay so far. He's playing right wing back, replacing Captain Tavernier, who came off of an injury at half-time. As Ajax restart from the back with Remco Pasveer, the goalkeeper. Had nothing to do, he's had no shots to save as of yet. Calvin Bassey, that's Kenneth Taylor, moving a little bit more freely now as he tries a 1-2 with Daley Blind. It's deflected back towards John Lundstrom as it's now with John McLaughlin in the Rangers goal. Clips up the field, looking for Kamara. Loses out to Taylor, won back by Jack. Again, lost by Kamara, his touch is poor. There's now a Jurien Timber on the halfway line for Ajax. It's Calvin Bassey, forward to Mohamed Kudus, goal scorer of the third. Tries to get the return from Daley Blind down the left, blocked off by Leon King, the 18-year-old. Making his debut in Europe. Mohamed Kudus. Alvarez out to the right back. Divine Wrench. Alvarez again. It's all in the Rangers half. He switches it out to the left-hand side. Does find Daley Blind, the left back. Age of 32. Berghaus into Kudus. Loses out. Pressure from Rangers players. It's now fell to Borna Barisic. He'll work it wide left to Ryan Kent. He's been caught late there, Barisic, as he released it, but it has got to Kent. So referee will play the advantage. Now with Ryan Jack on the left-hand side. Back into Kent again. Lays it off into Barisic. He's back up on his feet. In the Ajax half. Something they're not used to, Rangers in today's game. Connor Goldson. Out it goes to Leon King, the right wing back. By the way, Rangers have only won 19% of their Champions League games, by the way. That's 12 in 62. It's the second lowest win rate of a team who've played 50 or more games in the Champions League. The worst win percentage is Anderlecht with 17%. So they're not usually that successful in Europe, as Kent does win a free kick from Alvarez, protesting his innocence, the Mexican and the goal scorer. But didn't win the ball there. Went through the back of Ryan Kent. Easy free kick to give there by Tobias Stieler, the German referee. They've packed just over 55,000 fans into this ground for this Champions League tie. 10 minutes into the second half. Just about to hit the 55th minute. Borna Barisic is over it. They've got a high line, but he should be able to swing this in the box. It's just if the Rangers players can stay on side. Barisic's left foot. It's an in-swinging ball into the box. Header won by James Sands again. And it's an easy catch in the end for Remco Pasveer. I think a free kick's actually been given there as he won the header. He may have given a clatter into Edson Alvarez. So have a look. The ball swings in. Sands. Oh no, it's an off-the-ball incident. The referee saw it. Connor Goldson tried to get away from Alvarez and gave him a bit of a knock in the face and pushed him away. That's why the free kick was given, but it didn't matter anyway. It's not like Rangers scored from the James Sands header. Now back underway from the free kick. It's with Calvin Bassey. Comes it down the left channel for Ajax, looking for Steven Bergwijn. It was close, but Rangers deal with it with a clearance from captain now, Connor Goldson. Glenn Kamara can't keep it. Neither can Kenneth Taylor. Throwing for Rangers in their own half. It's been unfortunate the game was dead and buried in the first half, to be honest. I mean, Rangers have done okay in the first 11 and a half minutes, for a team that are playing a 5-4-1, just trying to not concede. They've got a few free kicks into the box. Not much more you can ask for, really. John McLaughlin. Across it goes to Sands. They try and play out from the back here, Rangers. This could cause danger. It's Barisic to Sands again. Down the left-hand side it goes. He just clears it long. Out it goes for a throw-in. Probably the best thing to do, to be honest. Just not to risk conceding another goal by giving the ball away stupidly. Just getting it clear. But those Rangers travelling fans aren't happy. This is not the way they wanted their European travels to start this season. They come out from the back again. Edson Alvarez, ball over the top, in behind. King will chase for Rangers, but Bergwijn will get there first. Cuts in onto his right foot, lays it off into Mohamed Kudus. Into Berghaus. Back out it goes to Blind as Rangers can get bodies behind the ball again. Kenneth Taylor to Daley Blind, forward to Alvarez. It is almost like we're watching a little bit of a training ground game, to be honest. I thought this game would be a lot better. Thanks to everyone who's here. If you could like, subscribe, that'd be fantastic. Not quite had the close game that we would have wanted, but Ajax have just been too good. They are looking a very good side. I think teams will struggle to beat this Ajax side at this ground anyway, for sure. Berghaus tries to hook it out wide right towards Tadic. It will fall to Borna Barisic, who will keep it in play. Wins the free kick as he's bundled off it by Tadic. No, he's not going to win the free kick. Sands gets it and clears. Flicked on by Kamara to Kent. Loses it in his own half. It's now with Timber. I thought that was a foul on Barisic there by Tadic, but wasn't given. And Ajax continue their pledge for more goals. They've got 3. They want more. They'll definitely want more. Rangers had won their last 2 away games in the Netherlands in Europe. They beat Willem II 4-0 in the Europa League qualifier back in 2020. And then obviously PSV to get to this stage in the last playoff round of the Champions League qualifiers for this season. But it looks like that run in the Netherlands of winning is it's going to come to an abrupt end. We have got half an hour to go, just over the 59th minute. And it is Ajax 3, Rangers 0. Ajax haven't had too many big chances in this second half, but they've done their main work and their main damage in the first half. But they're definitely looking good here, Ajax. For 3 seasons, from 2015 to 2018, they didn't get into the Champions League group stages. They failed to get beyond the qualifying rounds or the playoff rounds. And then the first season back in the group stage after that stint away, they got to the semi-finals where they had that famous squad where they had the likes of De Ligt in there, Frenkie de Jong, Hakim Ziyech, Donny van der Beek. Dusan Tadic was in that squad as well, who's still here as well. Daley Blind was in that squad as well. Now it's a new reformed side. Looking good, looking young as well. It's definitely a young Ajax side as they're looking to get a cross in here on the left-hand side. It is put in towards the far post. It's headed on by James Sands. Bit of a miscommunication with Borna Barisic, and he concedes the corner. They've conceded from a corner before. Ajax arranging this game. Will they concede from another? It's going to be an in-swinger from Dusan Tadic. The recipe for the goal that got them the first one of the game from a corner. The Serbian will take. Already got 1 assist to his name. Goes short this time to Taylor, who then swings it in himself. It's a header won by Ryan Jack. All as far as Dusan Tadic, who slips on the ball, and it can be brought away here by Rangers on the left-hand side. Finds Rabbi Matondo, who can't get beyond the slide challenge of Berghaus. He nutmegs Ryan Jack. It's now Taylor to Tadic on the right-hand side. Ajax just look stronger, they look better, they look more confident. Fancy flick now from Berghaus into Tadic. Scoops it in towards the far post where Lundstrom just plays it back to his goalkeeper there. And dissolves the danger for Rangers, gives them a little bit of breathing space as Lundstrom gives the ball away in a dangerous area, but then wins it back. And Kamara can stride forward. He now enters the Ajax half as Ajax have got plenty of bodies back, but Rangers will try and look for their way through as Kamara's pass is long, and he invited a dangerous challenge there from Ryan Jack, who's going to get the first booking of the game. Cards are out for the referee. It was on Dusan Tadic, and it all came from a crossfield ball from Kamara that was way too short, and it left Ryan Jack in bother where he had to put in a dangerous challenge, and he concedes the yellow card as he helps Dusan Tadic back onto his feet. Steven Berghaus in quick succession, pulling out a nutmeg, pulling out some tricks and skills. First booking of the game for both sides comes in the 61st minute, and it's Ryan Jack on a late foul, on a late challenge on Dusan Tadic, formerly of Southampton, like I said before. Was there for 4 years, from 2014 to 2018. That was kind of like the golden era of Southampton, really. You remember that squad they had under Mauricio Pochettino? A young Ward-Prowse they had. They had likes of Klein, Mane, Graziano Pelle, you might remember. Tadic was in there as well. Halfway line for Ajax. It's with Calvin Bassey, who I'm sure is delighted with the change he made to leave Rangers to join Ajax in the summer. Born in Italy, interestingly enough. Calvin Bassey, but does have Nigerian citizenship. As is Tadic on the right-hand side. In the final third, in the box, plays it towards the byline. Back inside it goes. Tadic takes over. cuts onto his right foot, gets it to Steven Berghaus, who gets the cross in, header won by Leon King, the 18-year-old. Good defending, headed it away only as far as Calvin Bassett. It's now Timber, clips it towards Bergwijn on the left-hand side, doesn't quite get to him as it's volleyed away, out for a throw-in by Leon King. Taken quickly by Bergwijn. It's now Blind back to Calvin Bassett. Like I say, is very, very simple this for Ajax so far. Mohamed Kudus goes back out wide left to Calvin Bassett in the left back area. Forward towards Daley Blind, loses out to Leon King, but his pass forward towards Antonio Cholak, who's all on his own up front, is misplaced. And Ajax are back in possession once again. The top goal scorer in this competition is Jari Litmanen. He scored 20 Champions League goals for Ajax in 42 appearances. That's not even including qualifying, if he didn't play, because he didn't play any for Ajax. That's an incredible record from Jari Litmanen. And Tadic is third with 16, so he's closing in on Jari Litmanen's record of being top goal scorer in the Champions League for Ajax. Tadic, though, yet to score in the game today. Alvarez has scored, Berghaus has scored, so is Mohamed Kudus, but not the Serbian, but sandwiched in between Litmanen and Tadic in Champions League top goal scoring for Ajax. It is Johan Cruyff with 19, so not the worst of company, is it? As Mohamed Kudus looks to get his second, in and out, needs the shot. Good tackle from Barisic, but Mohamed Kudus has just took on about 3 Rangers players in the boxes from quick, silky feet and couldn't get the shot away after a good tackle from Barisic, but he is a good player. He was strongly linked to Everton, and no wonder why, because he's so good. Blind nearly found in the box, a heavy touch though, and Lundstrom can clear out for a throw-in. Yeah, Cruyff was manager of Ajax from 1985 to 1988, winning a European title in the 1986-1987 season. So the substitutes have worked for Rangers, because you could clearly tell they brought on these players to change to a 5-4-1 and to just not concede, and they haven't so far. That could change as Bergwijn found Mohamed Kudus in the box as his strike is deflected off Conor Goldson for a corner. Honestly, it feels like Rangers have got 10 men. That's how bad this is. That's how negatively they're playing. And they've got to, because they're 3-0 down, as the ball goes in and it's headed towards goal again by Edson Alvarez on the penalty spot. Wide it goes. Honestly, it just feels like, with the way they've set up this second half to obviously just defend and not concede, it feels like they've got 10 men. You know, when you go to like a 5-4, well, not 5-4-1 when you do 10 men, but you know what I mean? Go into such a negative formation. But yeah, there's Kudus taking on Goldson, then Lundstrom, and then finally Barisic is the one to take it away from his feet. Still 0-0 in the other game between Eintracht Frankfurt and Sporting Lisbon, as we have Conor Goldson running away with the ball here, and he gets it to Rabbi Matonda on the right-hand side for Rangers. Getting into the final third, Bassey's trying to stop the cross, but it goes in and it's a dangerous one. And just wide it goes off Ryan Kent. Around 7 yards away from goal, it was a wicked ball in from Rabbi Matondo. And it went towards Ryan Kent, who stuck the boot out. He got connection on it. He got there ahead of, I think that is Divine Wrench. And just wide it went, unfortunately, for Ryan Kent, who again is struggling for goals this season. He's yet to score this season. He only got the 2 in all competitions last season. He played 46 times, so obviously not quite goal scoring the way he used to. As Berghaus has it to Tadic, 1-2 in the box, left foot, good shot, good save by John McLaughlin, who's keeping it at a low score so far. I think there might be an offside flag anyway on Steven Berghaus before his shot, but I thought he was going to score there with his left boot. Let's have a look. Got it into Tadic. Got the return. Yeah, just offside. So it wouldn't have counted if it had went in, but it was a good save anyway by John McLaughlin. Edinburgh-born goalkeeper. .67 minutes in, about to hit the 68th minute. We're still at Ajax 3, Rangers 0. That's for the goal since the 33rd minute. back in possession of Ajax. It's complete and utter domination. I was looking through the transfers, which I mentioned before, how many good players have left. But in terms of like net spend, they've done very well at Ajax. The players that they've lost, they raised about £200 million in funds, and they've only spent 94 million of it. So obviously, gaining profits of over £100 million, which in a business level is fantastic. And they have got a very solid squad, which we're seeing now with Steven Bergwijn lets fly from the edge of the box. Definitely would have stung the gloves of John McLaughlin, but it was well held in the end by the goalkeeper. Steven Bergwijn desperately wanting to keep up his goal-scoring start to the season with the 7 goals so far. Got a hat-trick in game week 2 of the Dutch League, Steven Bergwijn. James Sands brings it forward for Ajax, left for Rangers. Falls straight to an Ajax man. Comes off Edson. Alvarez last, and it will trickle out for a throw-in for Rangers. A fortunate win of a throw-in. Remember, we've had Rangers making 3 subs already. Ajax are yet to make one, and we're nearly hitting the 70th minute. Don't really need to change anyone. It's going so well. Maybe give a few runs out to a few people, maybe. Lundstrom clears with his left boot. Straight into the path of Ryan Kent. Is he onside here on the left-hand side? I think he is. Great find from John Lundstrom. Kent one-on-one with the full-back. Going on the outside. Trying to get onto his right foot, pokes it towards Barisic. He does get there. Weak-footed strike, and that's a fantastic goal. Borna Barisic on his weaker right foot. Curls it into the top right corner. That is a fantastic strike from the Croatian. And maybe, just maybe, there's a glimmer of hope here for Rangers. It's an unbelievable ball from Lundstrom to find Kent. Oh, he could be offside. I think this goal will be disallowed. Kent found him. Kent found Barisic, though, on the edge of the box. It was a short ball towards him as he was going for the overlap and then decided to stop the overlap and then just about found Barisic just in the box. Right-footed shot to the far corner. That's an unbelievable finish by Borna Barisic. It's only his 8th goal for the club in the 4 years he's been there. No chance for Remco Pasveer in the Ajax goal, but I do think he'll be disallowed for offside. The ball was almost too good, do you know what I mean? I do think it'll be disallowed, but it was a great finish on the weaker foot there from Borna Barisic, but I don't think it will stand. Could have maybe sparked a bit of a comeback. Remember, they've got 11 men on the pitch. They could have sacked the back 5 off and maybe have gone for it a bit more, but like I say, I don't think it will stand. I do think it'll be flagged offside. They've obviously got the new 3D system where you can clearly see if they're onside or not. Yeah, offside. 19.5 minutes to go. Barisic curled it into the top corner, but it won't stand. I think it was offside. It was quite clear to me. Yeah, he's good 2 yards offside. Clearly see that. Not even drawing any lines. You can see it quite clearly that Kent was offside from the original pass, which got Rangers up the field. Jurriën Timber across to Bassi. 18 minutes to go. Pulsani ended on time. We're still at 3-0. No goals in this second half as of yet. Only that disallowed one we've just had through Borna Barisic as Bergwijn wins a throw just towards the corner flag. Leon King, who's had a fantastic debut, I'd say, in the second half. He's defended solidly against Steven Bergwijn. The number 38, only 18 years of age. The youngster, who was given a lot of responsibility. He's obviously got a lot of trust, hasn't he, from Giovanni van Bronckhorst, who again is going to concede another loss as a Rangers manager. It'll be his 9th loss as a Rangers manager. 53 games, 9 losses, and 6. So yeah, six of his 9 losses would have come in Europe. 3 of the other 3 have all come against Celtic, which in the league, which I find quite funny. Literally 6 losses in Europe, and then the other 3 are to Celtic. So when they're playing anyone else other than Celtic, in Scotland, they pretty much win or draw. And then in Europe, that's where the majority of his losses have come. 2-0 to Sporting away at Frankfurt. 2 goals in 2 minutes from Marcus Edwards and Francisco Trincao. It means that game is heavily swung to the favour of Sporting Lisbon. And they look like they're going to get a good away win at Eintracht Frankfurt. Bassi through to Kenneth Taylor. Tries the back heel towards the run of Daley Blind. It's cut out. It's now with Rabbi Matondo. Can't get away from Calvin Bassi. Throwing on the halfway line. And I definitely do think Ajax are liking the look of Calvin Bassi. He's been unbelievable tonight. So strong, so quick, so young, so intelligent. It is it's quite scary. He's making his Champions League debut as well. That's including qualifying. He never played a qualifying match for Rangers. Definitely his group stage debut, that's for sure. And he's been unbelievable as Bergwijn was going to look to go on a bit of a mazy run there, but had to go back to Blind. He tried the return, won back by John Lundstrom. McLaughlin taking too long to clear it, and once he did clear it, it only went for Ajax throwing deep inside the Rangers half. Looks like we are going to get a change on the Ajax bench. There is movement. It does look like it's going to be Lucas Campos on loan from Sevilla for the season, signed on deadline day. The Argentine has got a Europa League title to his name back in 2019-2020. Played 71 minutes in the final against Inter Milan. That definitely should have been a Rangers throw-in, by the way, from that clearance from McLaughlin. Came off Mohamed Kudus last. I think it has been given as a Rangers throw-in in the end, because Lundstrom throws it down the line long towards Cholak. He loses out, and it's been headed back to Timber by Alvarez, who turns forward nicely, lays it off into Bassi. 15 minutes exactly left on the clock, and we're still at Ajax 3, Rangers 0. We have got a goal disallowed about 5 minutes ago from Barisic. But other than that, it's been dire, it's been poor. It's not been a good watch for Rangers fans. But at least they have limited the damage that was possible in this game by, not conceding in the second half as of yet. All 3 goals coming in the first half. Up towards Antonio Cholak for Rangers. Loses out. Bassi clears forward. Headed won by John Lundstrom. Up towards Cholak again. He loses out. There's no one to support him. And it's back in Ajax possession. With Edson Alvarez, who scored the first goal in the 17th minute for the Dutch side. Bassi. Now, Jurien Timber, who's looked fantastic. Obviously everyone, has said how Erik ten Hag was trying to bring a lot of Ajax players to United, the likes of Anthony and Lisandro Martinez. But Jurien Timber, for 21 years of age, he looks really, really good. If I was Erik ten Hag, I would have really pushed for him. Got 3 years left on his contract. He actually signed a contract extension in August for 3 years, till 2025. 21 years of age, 10th Champions League appearance, born in Utrecht during Timber, and I am impressed. He looks a very, very tidy player. As we're going to get the 4th Rangers substitution, it's going to be Glenn Kamara. He's going to be replaced by Stephen Davis, interestingly enough. Like I've mentioned it a few times now, Rangers' last Champions League group stage game was 4,292 days ago against Baraspor away. 1-1 draw. Stephen Davis played the full 90 minutes. He did, and now he plays again in Rangers' next Champions League group stage game, which is tonight. He's now at the age of 37. He made his 350th Rangers appearance at the weekend against Celtic, and he was the only change from the team that started today. And he's on the pitch, again, under 12 years from their last group stage game, and he's still at the club. Obviously, he left during that time. His first stint was from 2008 to 2012. And now he's been here since 2019, and he's making his 13th Champions League appearance. The other 12 came between 2009 and 2011 with Rangers. As we've got exactly 12 minutes to go Just on the halfway line is Edson Alvarez for Ajax. He's going to go for the switch towards the left-hand side. It's cut out, though, nicely by Leon King, and he plays it forward to Matondo. Gets the return to King, over to Jack. Good play, this, on the right-hand side for Rangers, as Jack just plays it behind Matondo. And that'll be an Ajax, a Rangers throw in as it came off Daley Blind last. Good play there. Looks. Oh, and here comes the triple change. Commentator's worst nightmare. Let's try and keep up with this then. Ajax change. We're going to get 3 of them. Not yet, because we've already got underway through the Rangers throw-in. Stephen Davis goes back to James Sands. It's now Connor Goldson. 400th professional appearance for every club he's played for, and he's yet to be sent off, Connor Goldson. That's a good landmark to hit in his professional career. 400 appearances. Born in Wolves. Here's Sands. Kent. Lays off to Barisic on the halfway line. Back to Sands. And it goes towards Jack, who lays it off towards Goldson. Doesn't get to him. Bergwijn takes on the keeper. Open goal. Easy as you like. And it was only a matter of time until Ajax got their 4th. Bergwijn goes down in pain. I think it's cramp, which is quite funny. He looks in a lot of distress with cramp. And Ajax are 4-0 up. It's disastrous. Ryan Jack tried to go back to Connor Goldson, his centre-half. It was misplaced. Didn't get too close to Connor Goldson. It was played through to Bergwijn, who rounded John McLaughlin. He had an open goal. He keeps up his goal-scoring form in an Ajax shirt. It's now 8 in 7. And he couldn't miss after he rounded the goalkeeper. And then he pulled up with cramp. And it looks like he's in severe pain with this cramp. Limited celebrations from the winger, who makes it 4-0 with just over 10 minutes to go. And you can see him pull up with cramp. You can see the moment it happens. And like I say, he was down for a good 30 seconds. And he looks like he's in a lot of pain. Ryan Jack, the man who gave the ball away on a plate for Steven Bergwijn, who wouldn't have been happy that his name was on the goal-scoring sheet, but now it is, and he just now gets up from cramp. He may have been being substituted anyway, because Lucas Ocampos was getting ready to come on, and in the 80th minute, Bergwijn scores, and it's his last action. He's in a lot of pain with this cramp. I mean, I know it's a painful experience. I've had it a few times, and you know, it almost stops you moving. You have to sit down and try and let it get over. As a lot of Rangers fans ready for the tunnels, trying to maybe get an earlier flight home. There's 3 changes are happening now. Daley Blind, the left back, is being replaced by another left back, Yuri Bas. Joined the club at the age of 15. He's now at the age of 19, making his 2nd appearance in an Ajax shirt for the first team. His other one came against Utrecht 2 weeks ago. Good moment for the left back, making his Champions League debut. Steven Bergwijn's last action was to score. And he's going to be replaced by Lucas Ocampos, signed on loan from Sevilla. And the final change is Steven Berghuis. Got the 2nd goal for Ajax, and he's going to be replaced by Davy Klaassen, formerly of Everton for the 2017-2018 season, signed for 24 million from Ajax, and it just didn't work. Then got shipped off to Werder Bremen, where he joined from in October of 2020. Now at the age of 29, David Klaassen will play the last 10 or so minutes of this game. 4-0 to Ajax. Steven Bergwijn's last action was to score. It was a misplaced pass by Ryan Jack back towards his centre-half and captain Connor Goldson. Given straight to Bergwijn, rounded the keeper, open goal, easy as you like. Thanks for coming. And it means it's Ajax 4, Rangers 0. And we're just back again with Rangers chasing the ball. I'll be back literally just 2 seconds. Sorry about again, just had to make a quick phone call, but we're back. 6.5 minutes to go. Ajax still in possession. It's just been poor, hasn't it, for Rangers? I mean, the second half has been slightly improved. You could maybe say only conceding one, scoring as well, but it was offside, unfortunately, for Borna Barisic. I think it was the 71st minute. He swung one top bin's right foot, but in the build-up, Kent was offside, so that didn't stand. So with David Klaassen out to Divine Wrench, the right back. He's been very solid on the right hand side, only at the age of 19 years of age, making his first Champions League start. In his 5 previous Champions League games for Divine Wrench, he'd only played just over 70 minutes coming off the bench. Now he's on course to play the full 90. David Klaassen in the Rangers half, being pressed by Kent, gets it back to Jurrien Timber. Now cross to Calvin Bassey, 5.5 minutes to go. Still Ajax 4, Rangers 0 in the Johan Cruyff Arena. On the halfway line is Edson Alvarez. Scored the first goal for Ajax. It's his first of this season. He got 5 in the league last season. 0 in the Champions League. It's his second Champions League goal of his career. He scored one in the 2019-2020 season against Lille in the group stage. Here's Lucas Campos on the right-hand side here, the number 11 for Ajax. Still moving his way across the box. Lays off into Mohamed Kudus. Now back to Bassey. Yuri Bas, the left back, making his only second appearance for Ajax, his Champions League debut. The 19-year-old substitute left back. Got a contract until 2026. 3 appearances for the under-19s for the Netherlands. But hasn't played for the under-19s since October of last year. Ajax are the holders of 4 Champions Leagues. They won 3 in a row from the 1970 to the 1973, back end of that season. Won 3 in a row, dominant in Europe. Oh, as John McLaughlin just about gets away from a Campos playing out from the back. He just cut to him, having to slide it away. And it's now with Stephen Davis, a more composed man in the midfield, the Northern Irish international, and gets a good clip ball out to the right-hand side to Leon King. The 18-year-old who's had a decent debut at the right wing-back position, thrown into the deep end. But Ajax end up winning the ball back from Rabbi Matondo. Ajax signed from Ajax in the summer. Matondo, former of Manchester City from 2016 to 2019, sold for 11 million to Schalke, which didn't quite work for him. Only at the age of 21 though, so still got a long career ahead of him. The Welsh international. 3 minutes to go, plus any added on time we'll get, and we might get a bit of it actually because of that VAR check for the Borna Barisic disallowed goal. Ajax, bit of a history lesson on the club, promoted to the first division for the first time back in 1911 after being founded in 1900, and that was under Jack Reynolds, an English manager, who got them to the first division. And then 50 years later, during the 60s, they did struggle at the bottom of the first division, so it's not been all stellar and positive for Ajax. They have had difficult times in their history, but they are a club who have won 76 trophies, 36 Eredivisie titles. So I've got to change. Edson Alvarez is going to be replaced by Jorge Sanchez, the right back. He's a Mexican man brought in this summer from the club America in Mexico. He's on a 4-year contract with Ajax. It's his first time playing away from his home country in Mexico. I'm going to get another change for Ajax. So we're going to use all 5 substitutes. We're going to see Mohamed Kudus brought off. Scored the 3rd goal. It was a bullet past John McLaughlin in the 33rd minute. And he's going to be replaced by Brian Broby. The striker, the Dutchman, 20 years of age. He's got a good goal-scoring record for Ajax. Interesting career moves for Brian Broby. He's been brought on the number 9. Was at the club from 2010 to 2021. And then left for RB Leipzig from January of 2022 to June of... so he left in 2021, went to RB Leipzig in the summer of 2021. Then in January of last season, he was then put back into Ajax for the season, and then they've brought him back permanently. So it's his third spell at the club. His first one from 2010 to 2021, and then his second one was at the second half of last season on loan, and then they brought him back again permanently for the upcoming years. That's Brian Broby, the striker they've just brought on. His Rangers are in the box here. Ryan Jack on the right-hand side. Plays it to Rabbi Matondo. To King, tries to go inside towards the number 10, Stephen Davis, but it's a misplaced ball, and Ajax are in possession again. Klaassen. Here's Jurrien Timber. Jorge Sanchez on the ball. First touches in the Champions League for him. Won 4 trophies at the Club America in Mexico. 3-0 now to Sporting Lisbon. Nuno Santos scored in the 82nd minute. Got 3 minutes of added on time. Poznan has been brought out by the Ajax fans. That's done by City fans occasionally in the English game. The Poznan, which they took from Lech Poznan when they travelled to the Etihad back in the 2010-2011 season. And the Ajax fans are doing it. They're not watching the game. They don't need to watch it. They know their team's so good. And they could be getting the 5th goal here. Sanchez, the new substitute, gets it out to Kenneth Taylor on the left. He's had a fantastic game. The machine in the central part of the midfield for Ajax. Bassi, back out to Kenneth Taylor. Forward to Yuri Bas, the left back. Tries to go in behind for Kenneth Taylor. Don't quite read the pass, and it can be cleared in the end by McLaughlin, getting the ball from John Lundstrom. I think Ryan Kent will give chase, but the header's won by Jurrien Timber. Only as far as Cholak, who gets it into Kent. Lays it off now into Stephen Davis. Barisic getting forward. He's already had the ball in the net once. As he crosses, it deflects off Klaassen, and he'll go for a throw-in. Rangers yet to win a corner in this game as well. That came close, but just rolled out for a throw-in. Ball in the box for Rangers again. Header won by Jurrien Timber. Falling as far as John Lundstrom. 90 seconds left of the game. Clips out towards the left, towards Kent. Brought down magnificently there by Lucas Ocampos. But he gets caught out in possession by Ryan Kent in the box, who strikes. And Jurrien Timber comes across to block heroically. Away for a corner. It's the first one of the game for Rangers. Lucas Ocampos giving it away. He made a blind pass as he brought it down superbly. Then tried to play it back. And then got caught in possession. Kent looked for the strike, and his Timber blocked the shot. It actually cannoned off the post. Very unfortunate there for Ryan Kent, but it is a corner. Barisic, outswinger. It's a good ball. Header won by Campos. It will run again for another corner. That's corner number 2. And it'll be probably the last plays of the game, to be honest. 45 seconds left. They've had the same amount of shots as they have corners. That's 2. Yet to get a shot on target. Barisic swings it towards the near post. Header won again. And it can be volleyed away by David Klaassen. Or as far as Davis, who heads it forward to Kent. 30 yards out. He's going to go for a long-range strike where he bounces. And it'll hit the chest of goalkeeper Remco Pazvir. I think that'll be about it for tonight's game. 15 seconds to go. Pazvir yet to pick up the ball from the save. He's been closed down by Cholak. He will then pick the ball up in the full yellow strip. Roll it out to Jurrien Timber. We played the 3 minutes of added on time. Just waiting for the whistle from Tobias Steeler. And that's what we get. Full time at the Johan Cruyff Arena. It finishes Ajax 4, Rangers 0. It's back-to-back 4-0 losses for Rangers. It's back-to-back 4-0 victories at home for Ajax. It gets even worse for Giovanni van Bronckhorst. Before the weekend where he lost 4-0 to Celtic, his team had never conceded 4 goals or more. It's now happening back-to-back games, both away from home, against Celtic and Ajax. It'll be games they'll want to forget. They'll try and have to look forward and move on from this. It's been a humbling as they return to the Champions League group stages for the first time in over 4,000 days, the first time since 2010. And the damage was done in the first half. If we recap the game, first goal came from Edson Alvarez from a corner 17 minutes in. It was then a double punch blow to Rangers. 32nd minute, Steven Berghuis scored from a deflected shot off James Sands. Then literally a minute later, Mohamed Kudus bullied Tavernier off the ball and struck a beautiful ball off the far post into the back of the net. That made it 3-0 at half-time. And then for the second half, it was all Ajax. Dominant, making plenty of chances. But Rangers actually was the team to score first in the second half through Borna Barisic as they broke on the left-hand side. But as he curled the ball into the top right corner, it was a beautiful finish from Barisic. It was unfortunately offside, as in the build-up, Kent was caught in an offside position. Then from there to finish it, his last contribution of the game was Steven Bergwijn scoring as Jack played it back towards Bassi. It was a short ball. It played it straight into the path of Bergwijn. He rounded the goalkeeper and made it Ajax 4, Rangers 0. Bergwijn keeps up his good goal-scoring form. He's now got 8 in his first 7 games as an Ajax player. And those Rangers fans are disappointed, and they will be. They've been battered and outclassed 2 games in a row now away from home. Questions are there to be answered. They need to find the answers very soon, as they have got beaten here 4-0. I'm not feeling great, as you can hear, so I'm going to leave straight away, unfortunately. But thanks to everyone who's checked out the commentary tonight. Make sure you like and subscribe if you haven't already. It's a 4-0 loss for Rangers. They are back in the Champions League group stage. They've been humbled, though, in the first game against Ajax. They've been outclassed by the Dutch side. It's a brilliant performance. 4-0, 4 different scorers, easy as you like. And for Ajax, they continue their great 100% record in the group stage. They didn't lose a group stage game last season. They won all 6. Don't think they'll do the same this time because they've still got to play Liverpool and Napoli. It's danger for Rangers. They could finish bottom of this group if they play like this. But after the first game of the group stage for Rangers, it ends Ajax 4, Rangers 0. They need to try and turn this poor form around. But for tonight, they've been beaten. They've been badly beaten. And it's Ajax's night in this early Champions League kick-off.